Hi everyone, my name is Nancy. I'm the exercise physiologist in the Zakim Center for Integrative Therapies and Healthy Living. Today we're going to chat a little bit about osteoporosis. So I think oftentimes when folks get this diagnosis, there are some concerns when it comes to exercise, maybe a little bit of fear sometimes of what they should be doing, and this idea that, oh, maybe I shouldn't be exercising if I have osteoporosis. So I'm here to allay your fears and say, nope, we still need to be moving and we still need to be getting stronger, but of course, there's going to be some suggestions there. So first and foremost, if you have been diagnosed with osteoporosis or you're at risk for it, or just broadly, if you are a patient at Dana-Farber, you can come and see me for an exercise consult and we can talk through this piece of it and maybe where in your body the osteoporosis is and what modifications would be needed. So please, there's details in the description for you to pursue that if that would be helpful. So again, sort of first and foremost, don't be afraid of movement. Would be my biggest thing here. Then when we think about the bones, we want to think about kind of two things broadly. We want to think about weight-bearing exercise. So as that name implies, you are supporting and bearing weights, or standing, walking, jumping, running, those types of things are weight-bearing versus something like a bicycle. When you are sitting in a bicycle, you are not weight-bearing. So kind of contrasting those things. We want to be doing some weight-bearing exercise, and then we also want to be doing some strength training. So, sort of generally as the muscles get stronger, or what they do is they pull on the bone. Again, it sounds like it's not a good thing, but it is. And that is what sort of sends a message to the bone of, we need you to stay strong and get stronger. And as your muscles get stronger, they send more stimulus to the bone to help the bone stay strong. So we want, again, a mix of more weight-bearing exercise, if you can tolerate it, like walking, and then the strength training. So we want kind of both of those pieces. So when we think about the strength piece, generally 2 to 3 times a week we want to be doing this. So every other day, every 2 days, give or take. And we want to be focusing on what we often refer to as our major muscle groups. So those are going to be our thighs. We have our quads in the front, our hamstrings in the back, and our glutes. We have our core in the center, we have our chest, and we have our back muscles. So that's where we're going to be wanting to focus. The majority of our strength routine is on those muscles. We also want to be spending some time on balance because, our concern, of course, is if you lose your balance and fall and you have osteoporosis, we worry that something might break. So we want to work on your balance so that if you do, miss a step or slip, you have the ability to help keep yourself upright. Now, we will have other videos in our series that will focus specifically on balance, but we'll go over an example today. And then lastly, the biggest other sort of modification to be mindful of is when we're doing core-focused work. We want to avoid things like crunches and sit-ups when this is referred to as forward flexion, when we are rounding our spine. So we want to avoid that, but there's still lots of other exercises that we can do because we want a strong core. We just don't want to be doing some of the more traditional exercises. So we'll review some of that today. Okay, so first exercise we are going to start with today is going to be for the upper body. We are going to do a wall push-up. So as the name implies, we just need a wall. So you're going to come up to the wall. I'm going to turn my back to you here. And the distance you are from the wall will determine how challenging this is. So the further you come, the harder it is. The closer you are, a bit easier. We're going to make sure that our hands are about shoulder distance apart. You're going to press through the entire surface of your hands, spread out those fingertips nice and wide. We're gonna inhale, move the whole body towards the wall, your forehead coming the closest. And then exhale all the way back. So try to get straight elbows. Try to feel the muscles around your shoulder blade. Inhale again, whole body. Everything moves forward, my heels lift. Exhale all the way back. So I don't want to just be moving my upper body. I want everything forward and everything all the way back. We'll do one more. Inhale forward. Exhale back. So hopefully you felt that maybe in your chest muscles, maybe in your shoulder muscles. So that is a great first exercise for the upper body. So we are now going to do a lower body focused exercise. For all of us, usually the easiest per se is some type of a squat. Now I know for a lot of us, myself included, our knees might be a bit of a challenge, might have a little bit of arthritis in there. So we have several options. I'm going to be demonstrating a squat against the wall. So I'm about a foot away, give or take, and then I bring my whole spine back against the wall. Isabella is going to be squatting down to her chair. I am going to be sliding down the wall and then coming back up. So you can see that Isabella is covering more range of motion than I am. So you are going to lower down as far as feels good for you and your body. A quarter squat, a half squat. If you could get, a similar depth to Isabella, great. But listening to your body, listening to your knees. We don't push through pain, particularly joint pain here. So this is going to help us keep our quads strong in the front of our thighs and our glutes. These are really important for our muscles and our bones. We're going to do one more of these. Excellent. Now we're going to focus a bit on balance. So I'm going to recommend a chair. You could also use a wall. We just want something for a little bit of balance assist here. So in this case, my right leg and then my right hand are on the chair. I'm going to make sure that my right knee has a slight bend in it. We just don't want to be locking out our right knee joint. So you're going to shift your weight into your right leg. Then your left leg, you are going to very slowly lift it out to the side and back. So we're kind of multitasking here. We are working balance, but we are also working on some hip strength, which is going to be important. So you'll notice that I'm not lifting my leg as high as I can. If you let me lean over, I can really lift my leg up high. I don't want to do that. I want to try to keep my hips level and do a range of motion that feels comfortable for you. Could be smaller than this, but likely not much higher than this. And then you decide how much do you need the chair as an assist. Maybe in the beginning you need to really keep your hand on the wall or on the chair, and then over time, maybe you can work to like a fingertip on the chair. And then maybe eventually you can work to hovering your hand. Listening to the body and going nice and slow and controlled. Excellent work. Now you could pause the video and go ahead and do this on the other side, and you may notice that one side is a little bit stronger, one side has a little bit better balance. You'll just work on that over time. Okay, so now we're going to transition back to upper body, and we're going to work those big muscles we have in our upper back. So I'm going to show a version today with tubing that you could wrap around some immovable object in your house. And Isabella is going to show us a version seated. She's using dumbbells. You could, of course, just use the weight of your arms. You could use soup cans or water bottles to start as well. Both of these exercises were essentially working the same muscle groups, just approaching it in a different way. And to layer on top of this, I'm gonna be demonstrating this exercise standing with my row, but I could also do it seated. So we got lots of ways that we can be working our upper back. So I'm gonna grab my handles and I wanna step back so that my, I've got a little bit of tension in my band. And then from here, I'm going to pull my elbows back and then forward. So you'll notice that, Isabella and I are both doing a very similar movement. We're bringing our, our arms, in my case, are going forward and back. Isabella's case, they're going sort of a little bit down and up. But broadly, when we think about our shoulder blades in both of these movements, they're moving in towards one another and squeezing, and then moving back to kind of neutral or a little bit apart. So you have lots of ways here that you can be strengthening these upper back muscles, good for our posture, but also very good for those strong muscles to pull and get those bones stronger. That was our last one. Great work. So now we're going to transition into an exercise to strengthen our core. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we don't want to be doing the crunches and sit-ups that many of us are quite accustomed to. So this version of core strength is often referred to as a dead bug, sort of a strange name, but what we're going to do is we completely leave our head and neck down, which for many of us is quite helpful because oftentimes crunches and sit-ups make our neck feel terrible. So that part is left out and supported. You could also do this with a little bit of head support under your head if that would be more comfortable. From here, you're going to take your right arm and you're going to extend it up to the ceiling, really actively reach that right arm up. Then you're going to bring your left leg up into what is sometimes referred to as tabletop. So you could imagine that if there were a table, my leg would be resting on it. So I want to make sure my left foot is very flexed, my left knee is bent at 90, my left hip is bent at 90. And I just extend my my left arm on the floor. From here, my right arm and my left leg are going to move away from one another towards the floor, and then they're going to come back up to their starting position. So you'll notice I'm not, going very far, and this is where I'll encourage you to start. As you get stronger and you feel more comfortable, you could extend your range of motion. Maybe your heel comes closer to the floor. Maybe your arm comes closer to the floor overhead. But what you want to make sure as you're doing these is that your core is staying, your stomach is staying nice and flat. So sometimes I even think about like balancing a cup of tea here. So if you're exaggerating your arms down and there were a cup of tea here, this would be spilling all over the place. So we want a very controlled range of motion where you could keep something very stable on top of your stomach. So I'm not arching my back to get my leg down. And then as I just show with this arm, I'm not lifting up here under my shoulder blade either. And then lastly, we want to think about the breath. We want to inhale as the limbs move away. Exhale as they come back up. Still keeping that foot flexed and knee at 90, one more apart. And together. And we'll come down and rest. And then you could go ahead and just repeat that on the other side. So you could pause the video and do the left arm and the right leg. And then you will get a nice, full, balanced workout for the day. And as a reminder, when you are down on the floor, whether it's to be doing some exercise or getting in and out of bed, you're going to want to make sure you roll to your side and then push yourself up to seated. And I did neglect to mention with the dead bug exercise that we just did, if getting on and off the floor is uncomfortable for you, you could do this in your bed. Just being very mindful that your mattress here, but nice and slow and controlled movement, that would be great. So hopefully that was helpful and maybe allayed some of your fears in terms of movement with osteoporosis. For more exercise videos, live classes, along with nutrition, meditation, and other integrative therapies, you can visit our website, which is myzacum.dana-farber.org. If you're a Dana-Farber patient and you would like to schedule a free exercise consultation with me, we can talk about the osteoporosis, we can talk about modifications. Please check out the links in the description below. Thank you.